Hi everyone, we're the Rebel Crow Psychic Show with your host, Athena Silver.
Hi guys, I'm Anya River.
Tonight we are talking about controversy. We are talking about people who are in the psychic and spiritual industry who have not been so on the up and up. You know, we're going to just tell you about it and you guys decide for yourself. You know, are they good people that are just trying to do work, or are they people that are just out for the money? So, are you excited, Anya?
I am so excited. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. So we're talking about tonight ethics, controversy. You know, ethics in any spiritual business is a must. Spiritual professionals deal with some of the deepest vulnerabilities that humans experience. Unfortunately, there are some practitioners out there who clearly cross the line and take advantage, and we are going to explore them in this video.
Definitely. You know, I have to start out talking about my girl. Now, when we talk about people that were in it for the money, this woman is Queen Supreme. We grew up in the 90s, you know, all us 90s kids, you know, especially us late night 90s kids, you know, remember hearing call now, you know, and the 1-900 numbers and the Psychic Friends Network with Miss Cleo and her fake accent.
Miss Cleo, I remember Miss Cleo.
I have such fond memories of those commercials. Like my sister and I used to find them hilarious because we're like, this is like, whose girl is this? Like, letting her out here acting crazy on the phone. Do you know anything about those 1-900 numbers? Because I know I found out a lot of crazy shit about it, like in the years after. You know,
I remember being a little kid and wanting to call so bad. And I feel like either I did call or, you know, like probably about some stupid 11-year-old boy, you know, like I was that age group, you know, like, is he going to be the one I'm going to marry?
You know? And she's like, don't worry, girl, I got you. This is the boy of your dreams. But it was like the first, like 2 minutes is free. And then it was like $10 for every minute after that. There were people that were going into serious debt talking to the Psychic Friends, you know, or the Psychic Readers Network, or whatever the hell they called themselves.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was like little old ladies and stuff that started to owe like hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars that they couldn't pay. She wound up having a lawsuit go against her, and the judgment was that they had to release like $500 million worth of customer fees. They had to you know, give back. And and there was like some regulation and stuff that happened. There was like laws made against, you know, psychic reading and you know, quote unquote fortune telling, you know, and that came after that lawsuit. It was a big deal.
Well, what was it specifically?
Well, I mean, she had like there were people that would call into the number, and the readers on the other end, the whole goal was to keep these people on the phone. So they would start talking to them about all these magic curses they had against them. All this witchcraft, and they need to do this and have that done. And, you know, let me tell you about another thing I saw, and go into like a 45-minute, you know, dialogue into what they see, you know.
Like some unverifiable stuff that I totally get what you're saying. Like that would be easy if, you know, if you have somebody who's on the line who's already in a vulnerable space, you know, it's like the number one thing I feel like is when practitioners are coming at you with this idea that you've got a curse on you.
Yeah. Well, that
like,
gets used a lot in certain online like forums. I've even had it where there's random people who contacted me telling me, "Oh, Dr. So and so made all my dreams come true. Here's their number. They could do it for you." And I'm
yeah,
like,
right.
like Facebook is crazy for that. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen, or had like DMs and stuff with this.
I had a couple of those that were just like, are you kidding me? Like one, for instance, I think I got like a couple years ago, somebody sending me, it's like clearly they're not even looking at you, because like you get some, like I've gotten some for like, oh, I can, enhance the length of your, whatever. And I'm like, you see, I'm a woman, right?
I've gotten those too.
Are you even
like, I'm sorry, I'm not in the market. Thanks, but no thanks. And no judgment on anybody who needs that. It happens.
Yeah, but it's just highly unlikely that it's going to work from a DM, somebody DMing you in your inbox, like not even realizing that, this
like
is not even something that I'm worried about.
No, I feel you. But there's also an entire, like, the 1-900 industry was really big up until that lawsuit. And it kind of went away for a while, but it's been reborn in the 2000s with the age of the internet. They have different services now. I'm not going to name any, but I'm sure you guys know that beautiful Golden State and all their beautiful psychics. And one day I'm going to own a yoga studio. You know the commercial. And it's funny because I've actually been solicited to come on board for some of these companies. They've reached out and they'll send those DMs unsolicited asking, oh, you're a reader. Well, read for us. There has been stories in the community that some of these big companies don't actually pay the readers, that they wind up scamming the readers out of money, that they don't pay them the money that they quote unquote make through this like third party service.
That's crazy.
So it is, but they've really taken the spot for those 1-900 numbers, and it's become like $1 billion industry over the past 10 years, 20 years, really.
Insane. I mean,
that's why you got to be so careful. You've got to be really careful where you get your information.
Like, especially, like people go for readings for entertainment, and people go for readings for real serious things, like serious life issues. And it's just, it's so disheartening that there are people, it's in every industry, but it's so disheartening that people would put something together to take away from a person's like life force, when they're at that moment where they really need help, it's bad enough.
They prey on a lot of people who are in vulnerable situations like poverty. Oh, well, if you give me, $100, I will solve your poverty issue, when it is a lot more complex than that.
Yeah.
I'm going to give 2 tips. These are my tips for anybody who is looking for a reader online. A, make sure they have a personal website, something that you can see their portfolio, you can see some testimonials and some reviews, you can see that they're active in the spiritual community, like work in different, they've been published in different publications, or they work a bunch of psychic fairs in a particular area, or they have other people that they work with that you can kind of vouch, for them and like their craft. But the second one would be, make sure you go and look on Google for reviews. Instead of going through a third party company, go and look for those psychics directly. This way you can actually vet them better yourself instead of trusting somebody else to vet them.
Yeah, right.
It makes a big difference.
Right. It helps. And I have to say, like, I'm a very part-time reader. I don't even have a website, but like I totally get what you're saying,
Yeah.
especially if you're going to pay a lot of money
Yeah.
because and it's not, that won't completely protect you, but I do think that you're right in that, you want to find, you don't want to just click on somebody who sent you a DM,
And I'll say
like
that,
go and find like what's their body of work.
yeah. And I'll say always, when you find their website, always read their about
Yeah.
me section, because it will tell you a lot. That it can say a lot, or it can show you a lot by what it doesn't say, and that's like, I even use that for myself, because you know what, I'm a reader, but I like to get read from other people, because
Oh,
as
me
a psychic,
too.
you can only see so much of your own life. So I need to outsource and find somebody else who doesn't know me, who doesn't know my situation, who doesn't know my profession, somebody who could just clean slate can tell me. And a lot of times I go and look at their about me's, and there'll be keywords that turn me on or turn me off. I might see something and go, okay, I know what that means, or ooh, not my kind of people,
Yeah,
but it's a
right.
better way to get to know them, like personal, and it's better that way. With these third-party companies, they may say, oh, we vetted, they're the best psychics in the damn world, but that's just marketing.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
right.
clickbaiting marketing tactics, and that's why it's better for you to go in and do your own research and really figure out, and use your gut. If your gut's saying there's something funny about this website and this person and what they're saying, it's not for me, then that's not the person for you. If you look at them, you look at a photo of them, you read about them, you see that they're active in the community, and that they have good reviews, and everything is saying, okay, yes, 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 then contact that person, because it's probably, there's a reason why you're going to them anyway, and you want to make sure that you're comfortable and you could trust them. But
Yeah, right.
these 1-900 numbers really did a number on the industry when it comes to how people view it. It did a lot of damage. There's a lot of people that saw about this lawsuit and got real turned off by it, was like, I don't do this, and that's sad. It's sad.
It brings up a lot of hesitancy, and even sometimes like people who I've seen people go to a psychic or a reader and be like, you must be a scam,
Yeah.
like you're coming, but you're like you're
I don't really
automatically
believe in this,
assuming.
and it's like, then why are you calling me?
I mean, there's definitely, where did that come from though? That comes from the people who are taking advantage in the first place. So,
Yeah.
and it's clearly an issue. So it's not like people don't have a right to, be very, very, very cautious and wary and, have these feelings. But you had brought up what?
I would say to that, as a reader, if you're really truly skeptical, give yourself some time until you contact a reader, because it's on the flip side of that to have someone say, well, I heard psychics are scammers and I don't trust any of them. Receiving that, you're like, well, what are you doing then? If you don't believe in what I have to say, you're literally wasting my time and your money, because I would rather you come to me when you're ready to really do some self-development work or get your entertainment or whatever your reason is, except for, let me try to trip this person up, because it's just a game you're playing at that point. It's futile,
So it goes both ways, guys.
Yes. I want to work with people who want to work with me.
Let's all come to the table with clean intentions. We'll be good.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%.
So you had brought up some marketing, and the organization and the person that I wanted to talk about was one of the first multi-level marketers. Do you think
pyramid
I could bring mine
scheme.
up?
That's what that is. A pyramid scheme.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about the founder of NXIVM. And if anybody out there still doesn't know about NXIVM, please go check it out. It's like fascinating. It's like there's so much out there. There were two documentaries.
Yeah, those were hard to watch.
You know,
they were hard to watch. I've seen both of them.
I feel really bad because it was sort of a guilty pleasure for me. Like I was just like, I couldn't wait until the next one came on, and and I don't know why it fascinated me so much, but I think it's because the people who were like the whistleblowers, like I had followed them before, and I forget one of his name, the guy's name, but he did What the Bleep Do We Know? And I was like, oh shit, I would have definitely fallen for this like 10 years ago.
See, when I watched it, I felt the complete opposite. I was like, oh, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. Oh, that's a hell no. And a huge red flag.
I have the life experience now, but I would say 10 years ago, I definitely would have been in NXIVM, Yeah, so I'm watching it with like,
what? I was like 10 years ago, I don't know. I don't know. I'm naturally suspicious of when people are trying to sell me stuff.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is. But like, I can see how people can't get wrapped up in it. I do understand that. Like, it's especially if you don't know yourself that well.
It's incremental. So you're walking in the door. Like, you got to think about this. Like, it started off as an executive success program, a self-help program, where you're coming in and you're just doing techniques to, open yourself up and, get yourself ready for the next level of your business or the next level of your personal life. You don't walk in going, oh, by the way, you're going to be a slave in a sex cult, like nobody goes in with that being told to them,
You're right. Those two things are not typically connected.
No, and you see, like, the way that they structured this is that you're coming in, you're seeing like a lot of other people who are in high positions. They got celebrities, they got all these people who have like a lot, like they're doing things in life, they're moving, they're shaking, they're growing, they're and you're there, and what's the first thing that happens, right? They're like, okay, well, let's just talk about some of the things that are holding you back, and then it just gets more and more and more and more, and then you're at the point where like you're being asked like by the heads of this organization to do this like super secret thing, and you're already in so deep, and all of these things that are happening, like people asking you to push yourself a little harder. You don't even realize now you're sleep deprived, and you're
and it's a Manson family situation.
you this is a huge red flag too. If you're in a group or something and somebody is trying to tell you that your family who is concerned are suppressive, or and they use that word in this group, like they borrowed that from another place.
Yeah. Although that other place I find fascinating.
Yeah.
We're not going to bring them up because I don't want to stir the fury of hell coming from those litigious people.
No. But having people voluntarily cut off, and I experienced this in a relationship, where like, when you get to the point where somebody is trying to get you to voluntarily cut off your outside world, your family, and make this your only thing, because somebody is suppressive, because they're bringing up concerns, that's huge, but that's the problem, is that a lot of these people are already so deep in, and it's interesting that Keith Raniere had started this MLM affiliate program thing beforehand, and then all of a sudden that goes bust. It's it's in court, it's being litigated, it has these judgments against it, and then all of a sudden 5 years later he's this spiritual guru again with another MLM, so like it's fascinating to me, like, I love those documentaries. And I found myself, like, after the fact, I don't know if this is true for you too, after the fact, like, I'm looking at every YouTube video, like, I'm looking at every article. Like, I want to know everything about it. It's
Well,
crazy. It's
I had a
crazy.
weird experience with that
Tell me.
particular cult. I think I told you about this. Somebody had approached me about joining something similar to that, and I didn't think anything of it at the time. I was at a psychic fair around a bunch of spiritual people, networking with the community and whatnot, and they were telling me, oh, it can help you with your business and get you to the next level and all that. And I was just like,
that was it. That was NXIVM. It might have been the executive.
I found that out
program.
after the fact. I didn't know what it was when she was trying to hawk it to me, And so, like, when the first documentary came out, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I was like solicited to go to a cult. I mean, again, when people are trying to tell me, oh, you could up your game, and it's like, how do you know how to up my game? It's my game,
That's
just
one of the best
flags.
things. That's one of the best things that you have going for you, though. Your bullshit meter, and also the fact that you're, like, just very lone wolf in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. It did keep me out
like,
of cult,
I'll do it myself.
That cult in particular.
You're all about, I'll do it myself,
Yeah, no. Well,
and you will, and you do.
Because I feel like nothing is worth building unless you're building it with your own hands, and I feel like, especially in life, like, this really happened when I turned 30. When I turned 30, I decided on my birthday that I was going to stop doing things that don't make me happy anymore. And because I lived a long life doing stuff and living for, a standard of what somebody else had for my life, and it never made me happy. And so when I turned 30, I was like, you know what? Screw everybody else. I'm being me. And if you don't like it, you can move, and I stay hold true to that. If you don't like it, there's the door. And so, it kind of saves me in that respect, but it also, I want to live for the experience of this life on my own terms. Like, I don't want to be told what to believe, what to do, what to eat, how to express myself, what to wear. I want to do that all for me,
Mm-hmm.
It's a last lifetime side effect, It's my last lifetime. I am living this thing till the wheels fall off on my terms. Thelma and Louise style.
It's a rebel thing too. So don't think that you're alone on that.
Maybe not. But I can say I haven't really met anybody who lives similarly to me. Not yet, at least. Hopefully somebody's out there. So I want to take it old school now. I want to talk about Harry Houdini. We're going to start off with him. He's not the scammer or the controversial person we're talking about. It's the activities that he chose to do when he was not performing on stage, which was trying to, disguising himself and going into seances to try to expose fake, psychics and spiritualists at the time. Now, this was in this was in the early 20th century. He would put on disguises like fake mustache and everything and go sit. And because he was a magician and used to engineer his own elaborate tricks, he would try to use the knowledge that he had to try to reverse engineer what these people were doing,
and expose them while they're doing it.
Oh yeah. He had police officers there, newspaper and journalists there, they're basically put on the light switch. Surprise! You're fake.
This is like the ultimate heckler.
Oh, for real. He was trolling people before it was even a thing. This is the original troll under the bridge.
Hey, at least he's getting proof though.
Well, yes and no, because he didn't have 100% accuracy. There were a very select handful of psychics that he was like, I don't know how they're doing this.
Okay.
But that wasn't enough to make him a believer. his forays into screwing with spiritualist psychics cost him his friendship with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the author of the Sherlock Holmes series. Apparently they were homies back in the day until Houdini was trying to say like this one spiritualist was fake or whatever, which was somebody that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle talked to or worked with or whatever. And because he was like a devout spiritualist, like he didn't even just go sit in seances and sit with psychics. Like he practiced himself, So people don't realize though, like spiritualism in some respects is its own religion, So if you have any time and you like history and you like spiritual topics, read about spiritualism. It's really interesting, especially spiritualism in the early 20th century. But yeah, he was out there playing Wild West, trying to throw tablecloths up and say, "Look at the table. She's kneeing the table. There's an extra person chilling under the table, touching everybody."
Oh my God.
Like, but yeah.
I would really like to read about the ones that were exposed and like he could prove that they were fake. Like that's pretty awesome.
I was able to find one person's name, and apparently like this was a big deal. Her name was Mina Crandon, but she went by the psychic name of Marjorie.
Just Marjorie?
I'm not really sure how it all went down, but from what I could find, she was very like famous at the time, and she used to do a lot of private readings and like house readings at the time. Like people would have parties in their living, their parlors or whatever, and they would set it up and have a psychic come in and set the seance and everything like that. Then there was also other psychics that had seance rooms that people would come to, like for dinner party style. It was all like this, like dinner jacket, smoking room kind of ambiance that they had going. These were the same people that were chilling, unwrapping mummies in their living rooms too. Not too far off. It was a wild time. But
like is it bad that I want to be there?
Maybe, but my thing is I'm sorry, how am I supposed to trust a dude who has like 15 chains and locks and jumps in a shark tank and like comes out magically okay? That's suspicious to me.
Yeah, I don't know what, like I can't even rectify in my mind like what would make him want to expose people if he was a magician himself. It sort of has this feeling of like, I mean, obviously people did know that he was not, that it was a skill, like performing magic, like stage magic is not magic. It's all trickery and people know that, right? And people knew that then, right? Like, I'm pretty sure people knew that. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I just don't see what. Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Because then, there could be like motives there of him trying to make other people look bad so that
to make him look better.
Himself.
Some hater shit.
That's a theory. It's a very uneducated theory of mine.
The thing that I find crazy is that this is what this dude was doing on the weekend. Like, this is his hobby.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Like who does this? Like, dude, go to book club, knit a sweater, chill.
So, any of the ones that he couldn't expose? Because that would be interesting.
I couldn't find any names when I was doing research, but I think you'd have to talk to like a historian or a Houdini historian.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know.
Like you'd have to
like
really
I want to know. And I also want to know if there were any feuds because of this. Obviously back then apparently it was letters.
There was some hating in the magician community at the time. There were people who did not get down with Houdini. Apparently he was like a raging narcissist, an egomaniac, which I'm sorry, if you expose psychics on the weekend for fun, you have to be a raging narcissist. Like, who does that? Go back to your family. you know, take a baking class, drink some wine, chill.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Or just learn some new tricks. I mean, come on, you know.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
who knows?
People
Like,
that
they didn't have
intensely,
TV. They
yeah.
didn't have TV. That's what
All
it
they
is,
had
you
was
know?
the radio.
Yep. Just
Totally boredom. So did you have any others for us?
I have I have an instance of when a psychic was conned out of his fortune and his own name.
Oh, really? Whoa.
Yeah. I am talking about the fabulous Walter Mercado, mucho amor. I love that dude. You don't even understand. Like,
I know.
he was such a fixture in my childhood. Like, I'm not even kidding, you know? And, you know, like, our great grandmother used to tape the astrology, you know, forecasts, the horoscopes on, you know, that he used to do on the news. And sometimes
Yeah.
she'd tape his show and like, oh, you're a Capricorn. You, oh, let me put the tape. Where'd I put the tape? Let me put it in. You gotta see. You know,
Oh
I
my
can't tell you
God.
how many times I have heard Capricornio, you are going to have a beautiful week. And
Oh my
I loved
gosh.
it. You know what? He never had anything negative to say. It was always uplifting. He could spin like a darker situation into something happy. You know, like he was just very ethereal. Like,
Uplifting.
yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it's funny because when they did his documentary is when all of this stuff came out. As a viewer and a little kid back then, it was like one day he just disappeared and nobody knew what happened to him. It was like he was everywhere. He was like huge in South America and Mexico and the Caribbean. You know, he was huge on every single Spanish speaking channel. Like, this dude was syndicated everywhere.
Yeah.
And, you know, his show was on for like 50 years or something crazy like that. But
Wow.
when they did the documentary, it exposed what actually happened to him.
What happened?
And I found myself at the end sobbing like a damn baby, like, oh, so rest in peace, baby. You know, sitting in my bed by myself. But it was, what happened with the scam is early on when he started getting big, he started out with a show, then then he started getting on news networks and stuff, doing a horoscope like corner, you know, kind of segment. And that started getting syndicated everywhere. He got this manager who was a younger guy who was this was like the come up of like the early 2000s when this happened, like late 90s, early 2000s with the internet. And this guy who became his manager was, you know, like internet, you know, like tech literate, and was good with marketing and spin and promotion and stuff like that. So he started promoting him all over the place, signing deals, getting him syndicated everywhere, you know, like really taking his, like what Walter was doing and blew it up and made it international. But at some point, this guy came and had Walter sign papers that were like power of attorney, essentially giving this guy like rule and reign over Walter's name, his likeness, his money, all the royalty that was coming in. Walter was like destitute. He had like no money and was living in this little house in Puerto Rico that he had paid off, that he had bought early on. You know, stuff with his house looks like Liberace. Like,
yeah,
it was gorgeous. But underneath all of that beautiful glamour and glitz, like, it was a man that was hurting. He couldn't even use his own name. Like, signing Walter Mercado would get him sued, you know, for using, you know, somebody else's likeness. You know, like, he couldn't have his own show even if he wanted to. He would have to call it something completely different by somebody else, you know.
Yeah, that's so sad.
He wound up taking this guy to court, and they ruled in his favor, and he got his name back.
That's great.
But by that time, he was too old to have another show. But he wound up winning his name back, you know. And at the end of the documentary, they showed they had this. I think it was in Miami. There was a art museum that was doing like an exhibit based on his life, and they wanted to borrow some of his clothes, and they invited him as guest of honor, and like all these people came and cheered him on, and told them how much that he meant to them. And then he died a couple weeks later. But it was beautiful that he got to celebrate his legacy and his life like that. Like that just was the most beautiful part, that he got his identity back. But
that's so beautiful.
And I've never heard of a psychic getting scammed out of their name like that and their likeness. And it was hard to watch, especially because of what he meant to me as a kid.
And a lot of people.
Oh yeah, everybody.
Like
everybody's abuela knew Walter.
Yeah, that's I can't even imagine like what goes through someone's head when they do something like that.
Well, it's trust. Walter was a very trusting person.
No, I'm not saying him. I'm saying the person who did it. Like, what goes through somebody's head when you do something like that?
The dude was an opportunist, and I think he just wanted more. He wanted everything. He wanted the car and the jewels and the jet and all of it, and wound up selling off so much of Walter's assets before Walter was able to get his name back.
Yeah.
It's
Man.
crazy.
It's not worth it. It's not worth the karma.
No, it's not.
It's not worth it.
But what? It has done nothing. It's done nothing to stop his legacy. His legacy is stronger than ever.
Yeah. That's beautiful. So heartwarming, that he had a good resolution to that.
Yeah. I hope they open up his house as a museum, because I'll go. He had this gigantic statue of Ganesh in his living room. It was beautiful. But as a witch watching that documentary, he didn't say it, but you're like, yo, Walter was a witch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The way he talked, the decor of his house, the items that were in the background of the scene, I'm like, dude's a witch. That is witchcraft paraphernalia. And I say that with love, because I own witchcraft paraphernalia too.
Yeah, it's really not surprising. I mean, it's not surprising that he wouldn't be open about it at that time either. Like that's just not very, it makes a ton of sense.
For everybody, I highly suggest you watch Mucho, Mucho Amor on Netflix, the documentary. It was beautiful. It was heartwarming. Lin-Manuel was in it. It was good. It's worth it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for coming in and hanging out with us and hearing all about the crazy controversy in the psychic community. Please don't think that this is universal throughout the entire industry, because for all of these controversial people, there are so many more people out there that their hearts are in the right place, that they're trying to make the world a better place, and they're trying to heal, humanity as a collective,
Yeah.
And those are the people you want to seek out, because those are the people that they're in it for the right reasons. So don't let these controversial people turn you off,
Totally.
And be careful with who you work with. Just make sure you do your due diligence to find somebody who's right for you.
Right.
But we want to thank you guys. I'm professional psychic medium Athena Silver. If you'd like to have a reading with me, I do tarot, mediumship, and other services. My website is readingswithathenasilver.com. My Facebook is Readings with Athena Silver. My Instagram is @athena.silver. And my TikTok is Athena_silver. What about you, Anya? Where can they find you?
So again, I don't have a website, but I promise I'm legit. I am on.
You can make one.
I know, but I'm just like a lazy Aquarius. I'm like, it'll get done one day, whatever. I'm not a full-time reader anyway, but I love doing readings. And I have pretty good feedback. But anyway, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Anya River, ANJARIVER. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, definitely. We'll catch you guys next Thursday on YouTube and on all major podcasting apps. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.